Greetings. Welcome to the second of 3 introductory videos to the 724-page poem entitled Savitri, or Savitri, written by Sri Aurobindo, which I recorded for you here on YouTube. You should probably watch the first one first. The second one will make more sense if you do. So the second video elucidates underlying fundamentalist fallacies stated and or implied throughout the poem, including their origins, ramifications, and much more. It will become very interesting. So for those of you terrified of the word spirit, I'll define it for now as simply the difference between a living person and an inert body. Whatever that difference is, all the phenomena that lend life to an otherwise inert physical body, we'll call all of that spirit for a starting point. So, the primary fallacy of all fundamentalism is that spirit and matter are opposites, that the spiritual and the physical are somehow at odds with each other, the spiritual being more positive and the physical being more negative, and in this case, they need to be integrated through Sri Aurobindo's practice of integral yoga. Now, integral yoga is amazing, profound, and very useful under many circumstances. What it does, apparently, is put spirit in charge of matter through the mind as a parent in charge of a child. However, as useful as this may be at times, it is not a natural state of affairs. In nature, spirit and matter, the spiritual and the physical, are both sacred and both good. In nature, spirit and matter are already complements, not opposites. Two matching pieces of a much larger puzzle, interconnected, interdependent, reciprocal, interactive, and so on. They are creative complements, comparable in their relationship to the relationship between female and male. Mom and dad, not parent and child. The spiritual and the physical naturally exist in cooperation and co-opposition with each other, as lovers, as partners, and so on. There is opposition, cooperation, and co-opposition. Creative co-opposition is how moms and dads make babies. Creative co-opposition is how gravity and inertia make energy. Creative co-opposition is also how spirit and matter make consciousness. Consciousness is produced through the creative co-opposition of the physical and the spiritual. So matter and spirit are not opposites, they are creative complements. So when do they become opposites? An ancient slave-breeding, consciousness-constricting trick of military empires was to teach all relationships as opposites, right? Everything is contradiction. The relationship between male and female, which loosely corresponds to the relationship between physical and spiritual, was taught as being identical to the relationship between positive and negative, between good and evil, between joy and pain, opposites. They even had symbols. Circle for female and straight line for male. Now these yin-yang symbols are very ancient and very well known. This was taken very seriously back in the day and is still taken seriously in some cults. Aleister Crowley wrote about this, and it represents one of the many esoteric cosmologies absorbed and militarized by the Masonic-type cults that continue to influence world events covertly. And according to them, these are opposites, positive and negative, good and evil, joy and pain, etc. And guess which one corresponds to the negative? To evil. Guess which one is pain? The female, of course, the woman, the woman. Woe is me. It's a woe man. Woe is me. Woe man. In other words, pain man, negative man. And how about this? Hell-o. Hell-o there, woe man. Hell-o. So how did halo, another circle, morph into hell-o? And of all the possible greetings available, when did hell-o become the standard? Hell-o. Hell-o, AT&T, hell-o. Is this the sado, pedo, nature demonizing, woman childizing cult of eternal warfare? Hell-o. It is still in the language. Sorry about my bad acting. So hell-o, woe man. These words have no power. They are just little signatures of the war cult that's been influencing events covertly for a very long time, keeping everything in opposition to promote and normalize war. So where did this all begin? Where did this all come from? In ancient military empires, females were demonized to suppress the power of their compassion because compassion has little value in a successful empire. In addition, the vast majority of tribal peoples being slaughtered and displaced and enslaved were very loyal to their Mother Earth. And so the conquerors needed to replace Mother Earth loyalty with Father Empire loyalty. So Mother Earth and her loyal family had to be demonized, trivialized, brutalized, and marginalized at the same time that Father Empire was being deified, glorified, justified, and normalized. Feminine cosmology naturally opposes the war culture of empire, and females had little value to the empire other than to breed soldiers and slaves. That is where it all came from, Adam and Eve. In our modern military empires, females are highly valued because they become soldiers and slaves. Progress. So, peace and war are opposites. Ecstasy and agony are opposites. Rich and poor, heaven and hell, journalism and propaganda, happiness and misery, health and sickness, all opposites, one positive and one negative. But male and female, dad and mom, physical and spiritual, oxygen and hydrogen, inertia and gravity, time and space, current and voltage. How about sun and earth? Are those opposites? My outie and her innie? These are not opposites. These are complements, partners, lovers, in love. Partners in the creative co-opposition which begets consciousness, and the attractive cooperation which maintains consciousness. and the cosmos and the family. Our complex biologies are extrapolations from the simple foundations from which we arose. What holds together and maintains the solar system? Attractive cooperation between the planets, between gravity and inertia, voltage and reactance, and so on. LOVE. This universe is a huge family of relationships. Some are opposites, some are complements, some are neither of those, and so on. All of these complementary creative partners are positive. None of them are negative. In nature, the physical and the spiritual are both sacred and both good, as are the masculine and feminine and all the other natural creative partners. So this mal-association insanity is traditional, militarized, fundamentalist reality. The same reality that Sri Aurobindo transcended through his integral yoga. But it was never real in the first place. So insane reality, deified and transcended. That is fundamentalist Hinduism. That is Savitri. But keep in mind that other religions deify and embrace this insanity, so the transcendence aspect is very useful. Ultimately, however, this worldview belongs to the predator. Any predator will see reality in terms of opposites. Predator versus prey, me versus you, us versus them, all opposites. And this extrapolation of opposites grows out of that predatory mindset. Obviously. So these types feel distant affinity with each other. They form secret alliances to trade benefits, protections, and so forth. And then this produces an us versus them mentality in addition to their me versus you mentality, still perceiving relationships in general as opposites. Not much romance going on in these psychotic type mentalities. So this could sort of represent the association patterns of an individual predator. Pedophile, military invader, slave owner, CEO in some cases, whatever. And of course it is all opposites, with the predator in the positive position and the prey in the negative position. Same again, except now it depicts the collective mindset of a military occupation, us versus them. In time, this pattern becomes the reality of the occupying soldiers who are relentlessly propagandized in this direction from their superiors, and who collectively then solidify this pattern to themselves because of all that propaganda, and also because of all the resistance and hatred they endure from the defeated local population, who continue to fight back in spite of overwhelming odds. This is why so many kids commit suicide in the prime of their lives when they return home from our occupied nations in the Middle East. A universe of opposites produced by the military mindset and deified by the fundamentalist mindset. A marriage made in hell. This, however, is the reality Sri Aurobindo transcended and then communicated that transcendence into the poem Savitri. Another related fundamentalist fallacy is that there is always an equal balance between negative and positive, between the inconscient and the superconscious, between action and reaction, and so on. That each balances the other at all times, and this is how reality works. This is how reality is. This is the reality that must be transcended. And he did. And you can too. But if you do, you will discover it is a post-apocalyptic reality, a military reality, the same reality that 99% of us assume because we have internalized our military environment as if it is a natural environment. The apparent equal balance between negative and positive is another ancient despotic military fabrication. Right? If there is peace, there must first be war. If there is progress, there must be slavery. If there is heaven, there must be hell. If there is reward, there must be punishment. If we're safe over here, there must be conflict over there. If there's ecstasy, there must be agony. If there's affluence, there must be poverty. If there's technology, there must be pollution. If you gain something here, you must lose something there. Everything is a trade-off. All trade-offs are equal, and they all add up to zero. In other words, death with a capital D. War. This is even the foundation of our Holy Roman physics. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, and so on. Absolute nonsense. For some actions, there are equal and opposite reactions. For other actions, there are greater and reciprocal reactions. All hail Joseph Newman. And for other types of actions, there are other types of reactions. All relationships are not opposites, only some of them. Here is that same insanity again, disguised as science. Every action? Are you kidding me? Every action? As far as energy goes, the law of conservation of energy only applies to interactions between kinetic energies. Billiard balls on a table banging into each other. One goes faster, the other goes slower. No matter how cleverly you arrange the interactions of those billiard balls, any which gain velocity will always be accompanied by others which lose velocity. Same with heat and cold, and so on. Very obviously, kinetic energy cannot be created from kinetic energy. Oh, this is terrible. Inertia cannot be created from inertia. Two fathers together cannot make a baby. So where does all this kinetic energy come from in the first place? Father and mother. Inertia and gravity. This universe creates kinetic energy out of the creative co-opposition of inertia and gravity and their various relatives under very specific circumstances. And I'm sure there are other ways I know nothing about. So this drawing depicts a machine that can create energy the same way the universe creates energy, slowly but relentlessly. But that's another video, several other videos if I'm allowed. So research free energy and then follow the trail if you're interested in this aspect. You can also watch my old video, The Theory of Static Energy, under the YouTube channel Jim LaBeouf, all lowercase letters. There are a couple of mistakes, but overall it's accurate and easy to understand. So this ideology does not have its roots in science. It has its roots in predation and addiction. Predators obviously see everything in opposites. Predator versus prey is the foundation of their entire reality, and this dictates how they perceive reality, every action being accompanied by an equal and opposite reaction. I chase, you run. I stalk, you fear. I live, you die. I win, you lose. I become more, you become less, and so on. Predation, predators, war. And what do you call predators who prey on their own kind? You call them cannibals. But equally as important in understanding this fallacy is the fact that all positive experience that comes from an addiction of any sort will necessarily be accompanied by a negative after effect. All addictive actions produce equal and opposite reactions. That's a fact. Right? Get drunk, positive. Have a hangover, negative. Shoot heroin, go through withdrawal, action, reaction. Hooked on gambling, lose all your money, equal and opposite. Hooked on fantasy, can't succeed in reality. Hooked on credit cards, go bankrupt. Hooked on pornography, can't fall in love. These are all addictions for millions of people. Success, alcoholic, workaholic, churchaholic, loss of individual self. Action, reaction. Adrenaline junkie, can't connect spiritually. Addicted to power, become increasingly sadistic. Addicted to money, become increasingly dishonest, especially with yourself. Action, equal and opposite reaction. Addiction. Addicted to supremacy, become increasingly subhuman. Action, equal and opposite reaction. These are all addictions for many, many people. For every addictive action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Supremacy, subhuman. Supremacy, subhuman. Addiction. Don't be addicted. Don't be addicted. So most of us endure at least one addiction just to have some fun in life. We are surrounded by addictions and the results of addictions, and this lends reality to this false science. Makes it seem obvious when in fact it is very incomplete. So money, power, supremacy, sadism, booze, gluttony, and drugs. Those are the big 7 addictions of most of the high-class cannibals running this whole show from the top of the economic pyramid. And withdrawal rolls downhill, ladies and gentlemen. So the point of all this is that positive equals negative is an incomplete cosmology on all levels of reality. It is a slave cosmology created by tyrants long ago. The reason this is important is because this unconscious fundamentalist assumption, well, that's a mouthful, unconscious fundamentalist assumption, where am I? This unconscious fundamentalist assumption, which has been bred into most of us post-natural humanoids, this is our collective excuse for justifying and participating in war, pollution, poverty, injustice, starvation, deforestation, drudgery at work, and so on. We assume that all those negatives are inevitable and are therefore impossible to avoid. We even associate maturity with acceptance of these inevitable realities. This absolutely false belief robs us of our power and our willingness to do something about anything real. If we address the real causes of problems, we are being immature and unrealistic. Absolute nonsense. The belief that something negative necessarily accompanies something positive is nonsense, is evil, is rooted in predation and addiction, and is a complete reversal of how nature actually works. The fact is, in nature, objectively, scientifically, inevitably, positive is greater than negative. And even more profound than this, positivity accumulates over time as negativity remains static, in other words, constant. This is how nature works. This is how evolution works. This is, in fact, how physics works. This was the universe created by God and Goddess, Dad and Mom, the big family in the sky, before a few deviant humans developed our militarized slave system of rich versus poor, upon which our entire culture, including our sciences, including our religions, including even our post-natural de-evolution, is based. We live on a planet which has received billions of watts of absolutely free energy from the sun every single day for the past several billion years, energy which is never given back or exchanged in any way, in a continuous state of positive is greater than negative. And yet us peasants have been taught and bred to assume that there is an unavoidable balance between negative and positive, that everything is an equal trade-off. Our entire culture has been designed out of this false axiom, and we have biologically adapted our nervous systems to this deviant design over the millennia. Ever since the pyramids, I'm guessing. This right here is the objective reality that most of us are hardwired to assume and perceive. But it is not the truth. This, ta-da, is the truth. This is nature. This is physics. This is reality. However, because we have collectively lived out of this for millennia, every advancement made has been followed by an equivalent setback. Every positive thing created has been followed by an equivalent negative thing, until finally we are now in the process of possibly destroying life on an entire planet, as billions of sentient beings, including millions of human beings, needlessly live in horrific man-made misery day in and day out. This fabricated military cosmology produced the situation, then the situation reinforced the cosmology in a progressive vicious circle through the centuries. The more we biologically adapted to this insanity, the more insane became our reality. And now, this equation is the foundation of the artificial intelligence programming which is increasingly controlling our world, and it is the equation of zero, of death, of war, completely unbeknownst to the left brain only geniuses doing all the programming on behalf of Father Empire. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably better off anyway. So choose one. Sickness, nature. Sickness, nature. 0, more than 0. Death, life. Extinction, evolution. Addiction, happiness. Entropy, energy. Drudgery, excitement. Stagnation, cultivation. War, peace. Genghis Khan, James Brown, whatever. Which do you choose? Choose one. All life seeks positive experience and resists negative, and this drives evolution. Life-friendly environments that remain natural for long periods of time become relative paradise to those who adapt to them. The most highly evolved humans were those who experienced profoundly positive feelings and connections out of everyday natural circumstances. To hear eternity in the wind, to see infinity in the stars, to feel the life energy flowing through your body, to be immersed in family love and natural feelings of well-being most of the time, to perceive innumerable connections with all life and the entire universe during sacred trance ceremonies, to develop post-euphoric associations as a result of those ceremonies. In other words, to get high, feeling the sun on your face and the earth beneath your feet. To feel a deep sacredness, seeing a young mother suckle her newborn. To smile and laugh and sing and dance easily and often, surrounded by family and tribe. To know without doubt that you are living a sacred life in a sacred place that feels like paradise most of the time. The life-filled ancient forest. These were common, non-addictive, highly positive experiences of common tribal folks living free with nature rather than slaving to control nature. What a scam that turned out to be. Those contented psychic peoples were long ago demonized and wiped out, and all of the post-natural races have been de-evolving ever since. Incidentally, the poem Savitri often mentions the bliss that has been lost, and also the necessity of evolving in harmony with nature's original aim. So, this concludes the second of 3 introductory videos to the 724-page poem Savitri, written by Sri Aurobindo. The poem itself is contained in videos 4 through 30. The third introductory video exposes the fallacy that all pain is self-created, including its origin, ramifications, and so on. It will also become very interesting. So please like and share. If you can, please like and share. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Bye.